All right, these are sex offenders, one after another. You see that impossible light that hit the street? It's also touching me all the way over here. These are sex offenders. This is the entity, this is Paul Leon, that's targeting through thousands of people. This is gang stalking, and they're also engaged in sexual violence. That's impossible light. Pay attention to the light that's sweeping on this side of the street while they're crossing path. That's impossible light, and the light, even as you see that, that's engineered light. That's not headlights. And they are demons who are intentionally lining up. This is all stalking, it's not traffic. And so they're intentionally lining up here, one demon after another, after another, after another. And the entity is doing this all night long for hours, as I'm documenting every night. And it includes the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department. All they do is sound sirens and use lights. And they're engaged in the same conduct with stalking with light. And this is a sex offense committed by the entity. It's a sex offense committed by the mayor. It's a sex offense committed by the city of Ontario. You're going to prosecute the government for a federal offense that's called the perpetual sex offense, okay? The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so pursuant to specific knowledge of who I am and where I'm located. At no point will the sun rise and set over one person. That's exactly the significance of this environment, where they are stalking with light as demons engaging in gang stalking at nightfall. Neither will your headlights reach on the opposite side of the street and blind a person, touch me with light. It's not going to touch the black asphalt and create any dynamic light. Pay attention to the light activity. It's creating flashing of light over here by me. These are demons that are stalking together. This is Ontario Downtown Luxury Apartments. They're gang stalking while the city of Ontario is stalking with commercial planes over that apartment. They're gang stalking while the entity is engaging in what is stalking with engineered light, molesting with light as sex offenders, okay? This is P.O.C. Again, Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments is a third party. The parking garage filled with engineered light, the fake sun over me both in the morning and in the evening. The fake sun at 7:38 in the morning in alignment with me while I'm inside of the parking garage of this same venue. And this is where you saw the fake sun at the food festival after 6 p.m. where the Ontario police were gang stalking by helicopter. The Ontario Downtown is nothing other than a venue where you're identifying the pattern of conduct underway by the entirety of that venue. I just want you to see where the entity is engaged in what is targeting with light. Their headlights are not going to reach over here, okay? And it's also not going to touch this side of the street. It's not going to touch my face. It's not going to touch my breast, okay? Those are sex offenders, and this is what they do when they're going to be federally prosecuted, because the Ontario police are going to prison, because Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to prison, because the city of Ontario is going to be known as sex offenders, because they're going to be prosecuted as terrorists. And this is what they're still engaging in while they are anticipating prosecution, by the way. This is going to be used in court to prosecute civilly and criminally as well. This is P.O.C. I just want to be, can you see that light activity? That's not going to occur from your headlights. In the same way, when they are stalking under the fake sun right here, and you see the same population of demons and engineer light moves underneath, they're molesting my person. They're sex offenders, and the entity is going to be prosecuted for that. This is a demon that's stalking with light. Okay, that's the pattern. That's a psychopath. The mind is not right. The mind is ill, okay? These are demon-possessed people who are psychopaths, and you are looking at sex offenders who stalk with light, molest with light. All I've done is analyze the mens rea behind the demented pattern of conduct, and that's the mind of a sex offender that engages in conduct. That's impossible light, okay? They're targeting. That's targeting conduct. One demon after another, that's a perpetual sex offense, and it's an unprecedented means of what is psychological torture, and the entity's doing this as a population. This is going to be this is the federal RICO case. They do that while they're stalking at the drive-thru for the bank that they leave open. They do that while they're stalking at the gas station that is left open for the gang stalking purposes of demons. They do that while they're on the opposite side of the street stalking in the parking lot. They do that while they're parking right here in front of me. Pay attention to the relevant positioning. A demon that's engaged in lying in wait conduct. Stalking by placing their vehicle where the demons are aware that I'm going to go sleep because this is where they've been stalking me, and this is for a demon to come out to engage in what is monitoring. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct of sex offenders, by the way. You're going to analyze the mindset behind the predators who are gang stalking, the demon possessed. This is the spirit of a sex offender operating over a population, and you're going to prosecute the government for that. You're going to prosecute businesses for that. Ontario Downtown Luxury Apartments, Gloria's Cochinas, Arco Gasoline, Chevron, Starbucks. These are the venues that are open right now where the people of the state are engaged in what is federal group stalking and monitoring, gang stalking by being a patron. By being in relevant position, you are being prosecuted while you live inside of that inside of that apartment where they're engaged in relevant positioning. It's just a means of prosecuting because they're all monitoring together anyway. That's the sex offender police. While you see engineer light move this bench, while you're turning on the street, the Ontario police are sex offenders, okay? And you already know that. And this is the entity that they've already given up. They have no intentions of doing anything other than going to prison. And the airport being shut down as a terrorist. That's exactly what's happening. I already published the list of flights. There are no flights that are occurring right now at what is 9:42 p.m. There's also no flights coming from the airport. That would include hovering over this apartment complex, where at a distance I'm being subject to a sex offense with that which is not headlights, and during the day it's not sunlight. And also where the entity is hovering over 320 North Euclid Avenue to engage in what is a U-turn. All right, this is what they're doing under the fake sun that's on this same street. Okay, this is stalking with impossible light. You see the light on the side of the ground right here, the Glorious Cochinas, that's not headlights. And they're targeting my body. They're sex offenders. They monitor my vagina. They stalk me in bathrooms because they want to be next to me while I'm nude. They want to be next to me in the private space. They want to follow me around everywhere. And they are so obsessed as psychopaths who are going to be diagnosed. Remember, those sex offenders are driving Ontario Police Department vehicles. These are pedophiles. The ones that are stalking with impossible light, they're the ones that also have sex with children. They're pedophiles. This is a sexually perverted population of demons who are being prosecuted for domestic terrorism. Okay, a population of psychopaths. It's currently 9:43 p.m. That was Ontario Police gang stalking, going out of their way, because remember, they're engaged in surveillance. So let me stalking with light, because this is also stalking with light. It's impossible light activity. All manner of iterations of engineered light, because this is monitoring. Monitoring is an exceedingly violent sex offense. P.O.C. Those are demons. All right, it's currently 9:43 p.m.